Good evening, folks. I'm Gary Gillette, in absentia for our announcer, the golden voice of Bill Roach. I'm afraid you'll have to suffer with me tonight, so just don't expect too much and you won't be disappointed. Please, rise and join with us in the playing of the national anthem. I dare you to sing. Well, good evening. And Mr. Morris and the 24 folks that were here last week, we really didn't mean to fool you, but we had a crowd here last week waiting for us. I had people on the answering machine when I got to school on Thursday wondering what was going on. Sorry, we always align ourselves up with the University of Montana Band Camp, and that's when their event is. And here we are, and the band campers are here somewhere. Where are you, kids? And we've got some in the band tonight as well, and we've got a couple soloists who are faculty members at the University of Montana Band Camp taking place right now on campus. This is one of their events. They walk down here as well as walking down to Caras Park this morning where the Ed Norton Big Band played for them as well. We're going to start off by stroking my ego just because I need it. Even though most of you are too young to know it, man. Friday night, Gillette Foamy sponsored Friday Night Fights on, wasn't it ABC TV? Every Friday night after the news, was it ABC? And Gillette Foamy, who now just makes razor blades and stuff like that. There's no relationship at all. My name's not even spelled the same, but I've taken on this wonderful song just for the pretend of it as my pretend theme song. Here's a Gillette Look Sharp March. boy. To look sharp, got to be Gillette, right? To feel sharp, was that the other lyric? I've got to look at the lyrics sometime. All of them are just a lie anyway, come on. Light Cavalry Overture. For those of you that don't have a menu this evening, I want to run, one of the benefits of being here early is that you get a complimentary menu from the maitre d'. Von Suppe wrote this. Easy, lightweight, light classical overture. He also wrote Poet and Peasant, which is one of our favorite. Was written for an operetta by the same name. And there's a little section called the Cavalry, the Light Cavalry Overture, and you'll hear that martial section in the work come up several times. There's interesting that there is no cavalry in the operetta story at all, but a group of overweight dancers who are referred to jokingly as the Light Cavalry. That should help you enjoy that more. Here's a Light Cavalry Overture. Wow. I'm used to looking for something to drink and wiping sweat off my brow. Don't anyone tell Roach how much I miss him, you know? You'll never believe it. Ben Kirby has played with us each year that he's been since moving here. His wife dragged him back to Montana. Jennifer's on bassoon over here. She teaches down in Florence, and Ben's a wonderful tuba player and teacher. Ben's got a doctorate degree in tuba, okay? There's not many folks that accomplished that, and taught at a number of universities, and figured out he'd much rather teach youngsters instead of jaded college kids and fitting into that system. So he runs a studio out of his garage at his house, which he made into a studio. And we're all lucky to have his instruction here in town. And he conducts a little bit of bands, and he teaches lots of private lessons, plays in the symphonies here and in Great Falls and Helen and Kalispell, and we should get him in Spokane. We're working on that one. And he's just an incredible player. And for all of us low brass folks, we just love the idea that he takes trumpet repertoire, arranges it for band accompaniment, wonderful works for the band that we can almost keep up with him. But what he's actually playing are legitimate and warhorse trumpet solos, the kind of things that trumpet players spend their whole life working on. And then Ben plays them on the tuba. Because it's supposed to be impossible to play it on something that big compared to, a little scrawny trumpet. That takes so much less air, and work and all. And then Ben plays it on tuba. We're all just wholly amazed by it. Most of us just remember tubas playing yum pum. It's that. Oh no, I won't tell the joke now. I'll catch you later with the joke. We're so used to having bass parts being simple. This is not simple. Enjoy Ben Kirby, and this is Napoli. Woo. Okay, band camp kids, you'll have your quiz in the morning. In which particular variation did the band put an extra bar in, and the tuba soloist left it out? Yeah. So much of live performances as Buffalo in the audience with almost, and that was a lot closer. We got through right there, and Ben looked up and went, almost this time. I mean, it was a whole lot closer than 4 years ago. In regards to the gentleman who conducted this band for 100 years before me, the old boy would do this song always on this concert because it was the only night in June that we have. And in honor to old Alex Steppenzoff, who's no longer with us, the last time Alex retired, I don't know, I think I've been doing this 13 years. Alex did it for about 100, and much of the time he bankrolled it on his own Bonton Bakery. It was a union band at that time as well, and he paid everyone union wages. The band only kept together because of Alex's steadfastness, playing an old rickety band shell down at the courthouse. Before he left us, we named this wonderful band shell in his honor, and he continued to come back. The last time he came back, I had to pick him up and put him on the podium, okay? He couldn't step up that far. He'd had a stroke and could no longer conduct with his right arm, so he sat here going, "More Yupa! Whoopa! Yupa!" Yeah, I've got friends that do a better Alex Stepanzoff than I do. A scholar and a gentleman, led this band for years and years, and we'd like to dedicate this Carl King fantasy of A Night in June to him. featuring our fine euphonium section, anchored down by Tom Frick. Thank you. Oh, wrong glasses. Oh, man. Remember who played euphonium in this band when the old boy conducted? Some of you remember Cy Green. Cy is no longer with us. His daughter is a wonderful bass player here in the Valley. Cy owned Marshall Mountain for years and years, and he would just wander around Montana, northwest with his euphonium just asking to sit in bands. I remember being down to Bitterroot, this little old fella coming up asking if he could sit in with the band. Hey, that dog solo was pretty good. I'm thinking about programming. You know, Fillmore wrote a Whistler and his dog, and Fillmore would sit his little dog right here on a stand, and he would cue that dog, and it would bark at the right time. We might be able to work out a deal there, buddy. Just stepping back a few years as well, for years and years, Ed Johnson played snare drum in this band. Ed was also a poet, died a few years ago. Ed wrote this before he died. Upon a summer's evening, there is music in the air. The fee for this offering is just some interest in a chair. Beyond the corner band shell, the grass spreads oh so wide, and people sit beneath the trees listening to music played outside. The musicians are a varied lot, from all walks of life they come. The audience is as multicultural as the addends that make the sum. The band is not the same in August as it was in July or June. You might hear a rousing march or a favorite Broadway tune. Each Wednesday during summer, the musicians come to play. The audience gathers near the shell at the ending of this day. For well over half a century, there has been the city band. Music is the most important part of living in this land. Those who come to hear this fair will exercise their right to spend an hour within the realm of a musical twilight. From everywhere around the town, people arrive by 8 o'clock. They come by bus, bike, or car, many even walk. A city park becomes a neighborhood where people come to meet. The band will do its very best to provide a musical treat. Some trappings of our freedoms are apparent in this land. They are people, parks, music, trees, and perhaps the city band. Ed Johnson, isn't that sweet? Old Ed, we miss him as well. And we'd like to dedicate this one. He's off, the announcer. He's actually back in Pennsylvania right now, researching further works in the home of his esteemed hero in life, George Rosencrantz. And even though Roach isn't here to bless you with his magic tongue, he did leave us General Mayo's March. Sorry, he was just an admiral. Okay, Admiral Mayo's March. Anything to make Rosencrantz more exciting. Thank you. That's right, old enough to need several pairs of glasses. But I'm not ready for bifocals yet. I think I'm too stupid to figure them out. In his prime, he was thrown from a horse and never fully recovered from his injuries. Went on to be a great Broadway composer. These tunes underneath this composition called Symphonic Portrait begin with another opening, another show from Kiss Me Kate. It ran more than 1,000 performances on Broadway. Then I Love Paris from the Can-Can, which starred, for those of you movie buffs, Frank Sinatra, Maurice Chevalier, Shirley MacLaine. A great ballad also from Can-Can, I Got You Under My Skin. And then from Born to Dance, I Love You. And finally ending up with the Can-Can and Wunderbar, one of the only waltzes he wrote from Kiss Me Kate. Here is Cole Porter, A Symphonic Portrait, some great Broadway music for you. All that work and I screwed up the end. We've got a gentleman been coming here and doing this gig for 2 years longer than I've been alive. And in his honor, still blowing his heart out in the trumpet section, we'd like you to join with us in wishing and singing, for he's a jolly good fellow, to Dick Johnson in his 56th year of playing with the city band. Got your starting note. This is where we send the ladies out with the bags of empty, knowing they'll return with bags of plenty. For the Bonnershell Band Park Fund, we are partially supported by the generous citizens of the city of Missoula through the Missoula City Council. I certainly hope so. Oh, look at that gentleman having to get up and get your wallet, sir. It's okay with me. We certainly appreciate the contributions from the city of Missoula and from the audience that's here. So, indeed, if you have to stand up to free that wallet off, dust it off, and it's okay. It's just like church. You don't have to fold it up if it's just a one. Think of us having to unfold all those $1 bills. Here is old comrades. That'll get your wallet out. Going, ladies? Are the bags filling up yet? All right. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you. It's about time for some classy stuff here now. You know, we did. It's about time for some Mozart. Roger Logan comes over a number of times all academic year long. He plays in the Spokane Symphony, a wonderful horn player. Went to high school with one of the guys here in the band even. They had a chance to talk old times. Is a native of the area and is our official horn instructor here at the University of Montana. He's also teaching at the band camp this week and is gracious enough to come and do the concert rondo of Mozart's in an arrangement for band and horn. Please welcome Roger Logan. Well, many of us that aren't in the music community are unaware of the fact that our own university band director has been cherry-picked and moving away. Yeah, got a great, big, wonderful band directing job available at JMU, James Madison University. This is Steve's last official gig here, bringing all the band kids over, and he's done amazing things for band here in our city. And there's lots of great things for him to come. We've been lucky to have him this long. We got him married off to a local professor, and it kept him here for another 10 years. Well, they finally lured him away with a wonderful band job back there. But what they don't have is a decent fight song. Listen to this piece of crap. Sound like we rehearsed it, but we did. It's that bad. We'll miss you, Steve. Thanks for being here for as long as you have been. And just, I bet you their state song sucks as well. And just to prove that, please join us in Here's Montana. Hey, before we do that, gotta remind you folks, don't give me an angry phone call next Thursday, okay? Next Wednesday is the 4th of July. And then, we've got thousands and thousands of people along with us to play for. So please join us at Southgate Mall. Next Wednesday, we start blowing at 9:30. Fireworks go at 10:30, so we won't be here. You can come here. You can probably hear us from the mall, huh? We'll be back in this spot in 2 weeks. Please join us in Up with Montana. Or no. It's Montana. Guaranteed standing ovation with Montana. Thank you. We'll see you at the mall next week. We'll be back here in 2 weeks. Thank you, folks. Good evening.